Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines. Disturbing evidence on the U.S. infrastructure cyber attack from China. We got that, and guess what else? There's another attack directly on crypto, and it's a senator this time. We got that and so much more. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on Twitter and YouTube for exclusive content. Right now, $1.65 trillion market cap for crypto. The market is up 0.4% right now, 41,900 plus for Bitcoin, 2,200 plus for Ethereum. Tether market cap's 90.7 billion plus right now. XRP at the number 5 spot at 62 cents, off by 0.5% in the 24-hour, up by 1.8 on the 7-day. Range of price very quickly now tightened down to 0.6021 on the bottom and 0.6255 on the top. So we'll keep an eye on it as we're sitting at almost 62 cents flat. Before we get started here, I do want to remind everybody, think of the current conditions going on right now and how you could be utilizing I Trust Capital, where you can get the best crypto, gold, and silver IRAs on the planet. Now, Bitcoin is projected with the approval of spot Bitcoin ETFs to go parabolic, damn near most people are saying. And we don't know if it will or not. But if it does, would you want to have crypto on an exchange that you bought? Or would you rather have it inside of an IRA where it's tax-free? I thought so. Gold too. Link underneath the video to my sponsor. Make sure you check them out. It's I Trust Capital, ladies and gentlemen. Well, this is a peep into the window of how the trading world really works. When you want to understand why Wall Street refers to us retail investors as dumb money, well, here it is right here. This is Ken Griffin telling you exactly what goes on.
Passive investing is actually rooted in the theory that markets are efficient, and that markets are efficient because of active managers setting the prices of securities. Firms like Citadel. That markets are efficient because of active managers setting the prices of securities. Firms like Citadel, firms like Fidelity, firms like Viking Global, Capital Research. We're all running large teams of people that are engaged in fundamental research, trying to drive the value of companies towards where we think they should be valued. Trying to drive the value of companies towards where we think they should be valued. And passive investing, in a sense, enjoys the market efficiency that we create in our work each and every day.
In other words, and you dumb money folks like us get to enjoy the harvest because of what we do, right? Oh, the Citadels, the Melvin Capitals of the world. They talk about all this research they do. You know what that means? That is a fancy term at my house for front running the market. Because this is where the information's coming in instantly of how much they're buying or selling of any one thing. Then they're taking that information and repackaging it. And what they used to do, and I don't know if they were forced to stop, is to sell that information to other entities. That's the kind of deep research they're doing. That's why you can never win against Wall Street. This is why I say one of my core tenets to investing, not financial advice, my digital perspectives, is stacking my pennies next to their dollars. That's as close as I can get to the sun. That's as close as I can get to the sun. Now let's take a look at this, because this is ex-BlackRock employee insight on the possible approval of a spot Bitcoin ETF. Take a listen to what this ex-BlackRock employee says here.
ETF in the US, I think it's going to be hugely positive, and that's because I think the SEC will probably approve all the applications at the same time. I don't think they're going to want to give anybody first mover advantage, and I think what that will mean is, because BlackRock is there in the mix, and this behemoth, they will put a lot of their power behind it in terms of sales and distribution to really make sure that they get the sort of go-to ETF, the default ETF. And you know, so my background is, I am ex-BlackRock, so I have some insight into this, in the fact that when Vanguard came to Europe with their ETFs, there was comments internally at BlackRock made that they wanted to kill the baby in the bathwater. And so basically not allow Vanguard to get any AUM at all, even when they were, don't let them get anywhere. So I think they'll probably go with that same approach. And if you've got the power of BlackRock promoting Bitcoin and digital assets, I think that has a major knock-on impact for other products, for other regulators to approve it, and just a real groundswell.
Thank you so much.
A real groundswell, and trying to shut the door on anybody else being able to get the access to the asset the way that BlackRock would. Well, listen, this is not over by a long shot. Stay with me here. Now, we just saw Jeremy Allaire was just on Squawk Box here, CNBC this morning, talking about stable coins and digital commodities. I want to give you, look, this whole thing is great. Obviously, it's Jeremy Allaire, but I'm going to bring you in at 4-minute mark where you can hear him talk about the spot Bitcoin ETF. He does go on and make very good points about the fact that stable coins are not crypto. There is obviously a fight politically between the agencies on who's going to, regulate what, as we all know. But take a listen to this exchange here.
Well,
yeah.
What do you think it's an indicator of?
Sure. So a couple things. So the first is digital commodities are here to stay. And that's just, we have this new thing, digital commodities, they're here to stay. And they will be valued differently. Gold is differently valued than oil, is differently valued than copper, right? So there will be these digital commodities. Bitcoin specifically is the sort of largest digital commodity asset. Right. And I think in the minds of many of the people who are investing in it, this is a risk hedge asset. Mm-hmm. It can be correlated to availability of money supply, but it also can be uncorrelated. So it doesn't fit every box clearly. And I think you're hearing from sovereigns, from the Ray Dalios of the world, the Larry Finks of the world, others, that they believe that in a complex geopolitical environment, a complex macroeconomic environment, this is an asset that one should have some exposure.
But we should not think of it as a currency.
I
mean,
certainly
by the way,
do not.
You're more in the currency camp in terms of what you do.
Correct, yes. So digital dollars that can be a strong store of value medium of exchange that have all the powers of the internet. That's what dollar stablecoins do. Huge innovation. I expect to be explosive in terms of its growth in the coming years. Just a huge utility for dollars on the internet, huge appetite for dollars on the internet. That's a very big thing. And that's distinct from people who want a currency hedge, so to speak, or a store of value hedge against the world going to.
I have to say, first of all, that's a great clip from Jeremy Allaire there. And one thing I have to say about that is this. He makes a very good point about the stable coins there at the end, right? Talking about, a great utility, however he remarked about it there at the end for stable coins, great demand, right, for the stable coins, which, if you think of it, creates a great demand to soak up all these printed dollars and bonds, because you have this new utility and functionality and ease of use of a digital dollar when it's under the proper regulatory framework, unlike USD Tether at the moment. But I digress. This is Rostin Benham here from the CFTC, and I want you to hear what he says, because it much aligns here with what Jeremy Allaire said in his earlier clip that I didn't play. But I want you to hear the first minute and a half or so here.
Said one of the big problems they're still facing is this turf war to figure out how digital assets are going to be policed.
Okay, so are they getting along or not, the CFTC and the SEC, right? Take a listen to right here.
I kind of view this as like a three-legged stool. You have the AML KYC issues, which is really around the illicit activity and the terrorist financing. You have the stablecoin issues, which I'm sure Circle and Jeremy were speaking to you about. And then you have the market structure issues, which is very important to me as a market regulator. And I think a lot of momentum has been around the AML KYC because of some of this information.
Wait, back that up, around the what?
The anti-money laundering and know your customer.
Thank you. Okay.
So, and that really goes to the heart of some of the issues that we've elevated at the CFTC around Binance and things that they were doing. But a lot of members are very focused on that. I'm very focused on markets. there's a lot of focus on stablecoins.
What do you see as the distinction between the way you think about crypto and the way Gary Gensler thinks about crypto?
Well, we have the products trading on our markets, and I think really, and we've talked about this in the past, it's a matter of what is the investor, what is the buyer of the tokens getting with its purchase of a token, whether it's Bitcoin, ETH, or anything else. And, I've said this very clearly, I've said it many times, I stick to what we have as the legal precedent and what we're seeing on our markets. And, under existing law, many of the tokens constitute commodities. And under this rubric, there is a gap in regulation, and I need Congress to step in. And the fact of the matter is, we've literally been talking about this for years, and we still don't have a regulated environment or a regulated entity.
It's crazy.
Well, that tells me right there. He goes on to say, no, we get along, famously between the agencies. This leans into exactly what I've said, that they have the blessing, SEC has the blessing to do everything that they're doing by all sides of the aisle here. Don't believe it. I think it's still true. And then we have this. You're asking for Congress to come in and give you some clarity. You better be careful what you're asking for. This here from Alex Thorne says this new bill from Senator Warren, Elizabeth Warren, massively expands the Bank Secrecy Act, imposing bank-like Know Your Customer, KYC, rules on non-custodial software products, including FOSS. And it's gaining steam with 5 new co-sponsors. This would be disastrous for Bitcoin and crypto in the USA. Very quickly here, specifically, the bill calls for dramatically expanding the Bank Secrecy Act to cover up open source software, including non-custodial wallets, miners, and validating nodes. It says it right here, right here. As non-custodial and decentralized software cannot plausibly perform centralized compliance functions, Warren's bill would effectively outlaw crypto in America. Take miners or validators as an example. These entities passively add transaction data to the blockchain. While they can exclude known sanctioned addresses, they are structurally incapable of knowing the identity of every user. It would be impossible for miners or validators to perform KYC on every public blockchain transactor. Indeed, it cannot even be said that these entities even have a customer to know. Warren's bill also seeks to impose the Bank Secrecy Act on non-custodial wallets. Take a listen to this. Many of which are free and open source. To be clear, there is no such thing as unhosted digital wallets. These are just wallets, which means all individuals to bypass AML sanctioned checks by directing FinCEN to finalize and implement its December 2020 proposed rule, which will require banks and money service businesses, MSBs, to verify customer counterparty identities, keep record and file reports in relation to certain digital assets transacting involving unhosted wallets or wallets hosted by non-BSA compliant jurisdictions, requiring non-custodial open software to perform bank-like compliance is the big attack. And it is a big attack. Bitcoin's enemies have always threatened. It's impossible for Bitcoin Core, for example, to comply with this, so it amounts to an effective ban of Bitcoin in the USA. These rules effectively ban crypto in America, and they fundamentally undermine the core of innovation itself, peer-to-peer digital cash. If you believe humans should have the right to transact without an intermediary, you must oppose this bill. Call your senators. This is the big fight. And you know what? It is. And I have to say, regardless of what I feel about Bitcoin here, this is something to note. And think of it for a moment. Are we talking about squashing mining for Bitcoin as at the same moment we're watching it become an investment product that's being owned by Wall Street and controlled by Wall Street's money? It looks like it. So no more of the person in the basement running this and doing that and mining some Bitcoin. That's going to be out. If it's allowed in the U.S., they're going to save it for their big friends, their big rich friends, right? The bit deers and all of that are already in the U.S., right? This is getting very interesting, ladies and gentlemen. Meanwhile, when all that's going on, Ripple Labs, new San Francisco global headquarters. For context, Ripple new corporate headquarters is located at 600 Battery Street in Jackson Square, and it looks amazing. Shout out to David Schwartz for sharing some images here. As you can see, that looks great right there. It looks like a living wall almost. But maybe it is. Maybe it's not almost. But nevertheless, this is what's happening with entities that have done it the right way, right? KYC, AML, work within the system. And sometimes you can get the right answer from the most unsuspecting sources, right? You would never expect that you would get the right answer from a Mike Novogratz, who says that he was just flat out dead wrong about Ripple and XRP, the digital asset. Or was it just the fact that he was talking all of that trash for years consistently so he could short the asset itself? Take a listen to what he says here.
That's really unique. There are very few assets in the world that have store of value, just because. Most assets have to be used. I separate cryptocurrencies into Bitcoin, which I think is a finished product, and the rest of cryptocurrencies, which are use cases that are still to be proven. Some are have spectacular possibilities. Something is going to be the trust layer that lots of stuff gets built on, that's programmable. Ripple is trying to be a payment rail for all the money that sits in between the banking system.
They're not trying.
And so I look at those as, that's really unique. And there'll be a new economy built on top of that. My gut feeling is we're not going to know the winner for 3 to 5 years. I'm not positive it's going to be winner take all. The winner is going to be worth a whole lot of money because more and more of the world will get built on top of a trust protocol.
And obviously, as we see today, Bitcoin is not that trust protocol. Sorry for the news flash, right? Look for a safe room. This one isn't it. The reality is I think all digital assets should be not securities. And that doesn't mean that you couldn't package them as securities. Of course you could, right? Just like oil is not a security, but you can create investment contracts based around that, or gold. But let's continue here, and let's see who is winning. Just like Mike Novogratz said, let's see who is actually getting things done. Take a listen to Monica Long, the president of Ripple.
Much, and congratulations on the recent approval of the XRP by the DFSA. So you're number 4 on the list. There is only 5 that are approved so far.
Whoa.
And maybe I'd like to end with a question addressed to you.
Oh, please.
So what does it mean for Ripple, and how was your experience so far?
Yes, so one, I think that, the clarity of the regulatory framework has been very helpful to us. And then with the approval of XRP, it adds a lot of legitimacy and also kind of demystifies for different partners and customers and developers in the region, how this asset will be viewed by their regulators. So I think it really opens the door to responsible development and new product innovation. So I think it's going to achieve just the goal that I'm sure you also have.
Yeah, wish you all the best. Yeah,
yes,
thank you.
Wonderful.
Yes, it is very exciting that the rest of the world is not as confused or dragging their feet the way they are here in the United States, right? But it's all for a reason. Because we know that Ripple has made their way through this case, and they know that they brought XRP with it. The clarity is there. XRP in and of itself is not a security, not something the rest of the market or industry could even come close to saying. But look at the accomplishments that are taking place, all of this while we were being sued and still being sued in the process here in the United States. This is what it really takes. And what you're seeing today is a contrast. And before I play this clip, I want to remind everybody about these ETFs here. Bitcoin started out as anti-bank, anti-establishment, and people still want that. You hear the cries from Alex Thorne in the post that I just read you. You got to stop this bill or it's going to kill crypto and Bitcoin in the United States. I get it. But at the same time, there is this irony playing out here that the anti-establishment, libertarian, anti-government, love Bitcoin are jumping up and down for Wall Street. Of all the dollar and money in the world, they want Wall Street to come in and inflate the price and blow the asset up. Well, what happened to the anti-government, anti-establishment? Because now you're talking about the establishment coming in and bringing their dollars and blowing up this asset, and it being nothing more than a speculative investment product. So long goes the road to the anti-government, anti-establishment asset, because once Wall Street start putting its money in that place, you can forget it, baby. Because once they blow this thing up, all they got to do is decide to stop doing it. And it will look like it is failed. And I would be very weary of that in the future. Bitcoin has been reestablished at the onset of a spot Bitcoin ETF. Bitcoin will forevermore be nothing more than an investment product that you can bet on. That's what we're about to watch happen. Unless they do something to reignite the innovation of that technology. Sorry, but that's where we're at today. But let's listen to what Ripple's done and the achievements here when you got real use case utility solving real world problems.
And since 2016, we've helped serve hundreds of customers,
allowing
them access to over 70 different payout markets, which represents over 90% of the global FX market.
There you go.
And in that time, as Monica mentioned yesterday, we processed over 27 million transactions, representing approximately $50 billion in notional value. And the best part of this is it's all without requiring customers to pre-fund payments.
You know what the other part of that that's great? Is that everybody using that is KYC AML. Come on in, write it down, baby. You damn right. Listen, this is not a tribalist thing when I'm talking about the shady side of what could happen to Bitcoin becoming nothing more than an investment tool or investment product. This is about awareness. We're seeing new definitions placed on something that started out to be a money for the people. Well, be very careful of that. That's all I'm saying there. Now, we're going to get into the evidence here. The China cyber attack on the U.S. infrastructure, we got that, and the stuff that we got for you to see around that is remarkable, but you got to go to digperspectives.com, click on the Freedom Zone, join us inside. You're going to get it all. We got that and so much more. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. I'll catch all of you on the next one.